Hi folks, welcome to Coffee and Revelation on Thursday. A wee bit later than usual, apologies for that. I've been recording the Quantum podcast, which will be out tomorrow morning, and writing something I think is really important, and it's kind of tied in a little bit what we're doing today. It's about the proposed legislation in Tasmania on conversion therapy, which will also be applied in Western Australia, I'm sure, and we'll get the same here. And what this has to do with Revelation, there's a very interesting statement in the proposal about how what they are overturning in terms of transgender ideology and sexuality is what has been understood in the Western world since Christianity came in. And I think that's really, really important. But we are at chapter 14. Blessed are those who wash their robes, this is Jesus saying, that they may have the right to the tree of life and may go through the gates into the city. Outside are the dogs, those who practice magic arts, the sexually immoral, the murderers, the idolaters, and everyone who loves and practices falsehood. A couple of things really important here. First of all, blessed are those who wash their robes. His last and seventh beatitude, this is Jesus. What's he saying? He's saying the robes are filthy because of sin. We are filthy because of sin, which can be removed only through his blood. And the verb to wash, this is very important, is a participle in the present tense. And what that indicates is that sin is a continual polluting agency that needs repeated cleansing. I think it's Kistemacher who puts it that way. So there's a sense in which when you become a Christian, you're forgiven, you're given eternal life that lasts forever. But there's another sense in which you are also going and taking your robes and making them white. We've got a washing machine in there. Sometimes, in fact, if my camera was the other way around, you'd see what my wife would be horrified at, our clothing just out here on the balcony of this apartment being dried in the sun. But our clothes need continually washed, don't they? And we need continually washed. And they're saying, blessed are you if you're doing that. So, was it Martin Luther who said a Christian is somebody who repents every day? I think that's a really positive thing, actually. I think if you're watching this and you're deeply conscious of your own sin, you can rise beyond that. Or you can be cleansed of that sin. So that they may have the right to the tree of life. Well, as we know, Adam and Eve were driven out of the Garden of Eden, and the cherubim prevented them from getting to the tree of life. But now, we have absolute freedom to come and take and eat. In fact, Jesus gives us the right to do so. We have unhindered access to the tree of life. Before we're banned, now we're not. And then we enter the city by the gates. They may go through the gates into the city. Our names are recorded in the Lamb's Book of Life. The negative side is the outside of the dogs. And if you're not a believer, that's how you're described. And you may be absolutely horrified at that because you think, well, that's just a very pejorative way of speaking of people. That's precisely the point. Believers are dressed in clean garments and have the right to the tree of life and to heavenly citizenship. But unbelievers are excluded because their lifestyle is comparative to these categories. They are those who practice the magic arts, the sexually immoral, the murderers, the idolaters, and everyone who loves and practices falsehood. In the Old Testament, street dogs were despised. They're the dogs. I think possibly they still are now. A male prostitute was called a dog, Deuteronomy 23, verse 18. In the New Testament, the rabbis referred to the Gentiles as dog. And Paul in Philippians 3:2 refers to his opponents as dogs. The point being that the word dog is a pejorative term that denotes someone to be shunned. And isn't that pretty well the same in most of our cultures today? Now, the whole point of that, these sorcerers, murderers, idolaters, sexually immoral, deceitful people, they're already mentioned in 21 verse 8. It's repeated here, I think, in the closing verses for emphasis. But look what he says. And everyone who loves and practices falsehood. Who loves and practices. There's an incredible depth. Not when you sin almost inadvertently. Not when you sin by slipping up. But when you love and practice sin. It's possible that this is a warning to Christians as well, not to slip back into old ways. But what a contrast, isn't it? Here's the tree to eternal life, and here you're shut out, and you're going to hell. Because that's what you want, that's what you love, that's what you practice. It is such a dichotomy. And I hope that anyone who watches this, if you're not a believer, you become absolutely aware you don't need to die. What I mean by that is you don't need to die eternally. You can come to know the Lord. And if you are a believer, I want to just ask. So I guess it's the same question for both. Have you been to Jesus for the cleansing power? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? You know what I think I'll do? If I can get a clip of it, I will add it on to this, because I just think that's a great song, and that's what this is saying here. So we shall probably see you tomorrow, I hope, God willing. We're still around, you're still around, where we go on to look at verse 16. God bless you. If I can get the clip on, enjoy it just now. If not, I'll see you anyway. Bye.
Have you been to Jesus for the cleansing power? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Are you fully trusting in His grace this hour? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Are you washed in the blood? In the blood, in the soul cleansing blood of the Lamb. Are they white as snow? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Are you walking daily by the Savior's side? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Do you rest each moment in the crucified? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Soul cleansing blood of the Lamb. Are your garments spotless? Are they white as snow? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? When the bridegroom cometh, will your robes be white, pure and white in the blood of the Lamb? Will your soul be ready for the mansions bright, and be washed in the blood of the Lamb? Are you washed in the blood? In the blood, in the soul cleansing blood of the Lamb. Are your garments spotless? Are they white as snow? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Lay aside the garments that are stained with sin, and be washed in the blood of the Lamb. There's a fountain flowing for the soul unclean. Oh, be washed in the blood of the Lamb. Are you washed in the blood? In the blood, in the soul cleansing blood of the Lamb. Are your garments spotless? Are they white as snow? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb?